Hey, welcome to another episode of Silence is Golden. I'm Beavis, and this is Butthead. Shut up, Butthead. What are we talking about this week, Butthead?
Shut up, Beavis.
Welcome to another episode of Silence is Golden. My name is Troy Dean.
I'm Simon Kelly.
And that is my dog Lucy behind Simon scratching her foot. This is the final episode for 2018. We want to give you a big heartfelt thank you for being such loyal fans and followers. You make it all worthwhile. Thanks for all your contributions and participation throughout the year. We've put together a very special episode today, which is a bit of a best of look at what's happened over the year. Best of, use that word loosely. After this episode, we will be taking a break from normal broadcasting and we'll be back in mid-January to resume our usual schedule.
Yeah, we've got big things planned for 2019. Really excited. Really excited to see the journey of Silence is Golden over 2018. It's been a big one, and I have to be honest, I haven't watched a few of the older episodes for quite a while, so I'm excited to see it, and I hope you are as well.
One of my favourite things has been watching the evolution of Simon and my hair over the last 12 months.
Yeah, if nothing else, that's the big takeaway.
Okay, it's funny because we're kind of in sync with our haircuts, and you can watch, you see an episode where we both look like big woolly mammoths, and then the next episode we have no hair, and we just kind of gradually go.
Got to get in sync, right?
Yeah.
With your co-host.
So we hope you enjoy this episode. Leave some comments and some laughs in the comments here, and we'll be back after the best of clips here to sign off.
Word on the street. I am somewhat invasive Simon, who will be talking to people on the streets about closing the loop. How do you wrap things up? How do you not get more on? So let's see what the people think, how they get stuff done. Let's check it out. Do you wake up with multiple notifications on your phone?
When I turn the phone on, there are, yes.
Yep. Yeah. Is there any main offender of apps?
Facebook mostly, yeah.
Facebook, email, Instagram, Slack. It sucks. It sucks. I try not to touch my phone for the first hour of waking up.
I kind of turn off as many of the notifications as possible, but it's usually fitness apps telling me to get out of bed.
Yes, I do.
How do you manage those?
I clear them until I get on the tram.
So you have a place where you'll deal with them?
Yeah, I usually do all my social media while in transit.
I'm probably of a generation that didn't rely on social media or mobile phones or things like that. Not that I don't use them, I have to use them obviously, but I try to minimize the use as much as possible, precisely because they can be very distracting.
Do you have people who they call and text back over and over again, you're like, oh man, this conversation won't end?
Absolutely. Biggest problem is Facebook Messenger as an app. Someone might message me at 2 a.m. right, and that'll flash up on my phone. I don't want to deal with it until the next day, but suddenly it's there, and if I ignore it, I might not get back to it, or they might think I'm being a dick. And I've got friends who call me why aren't you reading my messages? I'm sorry, but
Do you have a name for these kind of people?
Trainers.
Do you have a name for those kind of people? Do you know these people in your life?
People in my life, constant texters.
No, because I'm the serial texter. So they're
So you're that kind of...
me.
It's not the people, it's the system.
And that's the irony. I think on the one hand, social media has brought the world together, but it also creates that sense of disappointment or expectation, and when people don't respond positively to what you posted, you feel deflated. So personally, I don't use a lot of apps, but that's just me. I can understand how other people would use them. That's fine.
This pisses me off.
So what pisses me off is consultants who blame their clients for scope creep or not producing content on time. I hear this all the time. I hear it at WordCamps, at WordPress meetups. I heard it over the weekend. Consultants or coaches whinging about their clients. If a client is not giving you content on time or is moving the goalposts halfway through the project, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's your fault, not theirs. They have never built a website before. They have never produced content for a website before. They are not skilled. They do not have the skill set or the knowledge to manage this project successfully. That's why they're paying you. So if your client has gone AWOL with their content, or they are, changing feature creep halfway through the project, I'm sorry, but it's not their fault, it's your fault. So stop complaining about it, get your processes fixed. There we go.
Great.
Hashtag rant over.
So what can people do to fix it?
Well,
is it managing expectations?
Glad you asked, Ray.
There you
Here's something I prepared earlier.
Oh, wow.
Well, setting expectations. So for example, one of the easiest ways to avoid scope creep is to build prototypes in the browser quickly, rather than explaining in the written word what the website is going to look like and how the website is going to function. Here's a radical idea. A website lives in the browser. That's where it's going to end up, either on a mobile device or on the computer. So why don't we start having a conversation with our client about the website in the browser by building prototypes and getting them to comment on the prototype. Let's have a meaningful conversation in the browser. And if they want their client, if you're building a membership website, for example, and they want their members to be able to log in and print out an invoice of their past membership fees, something that we built for our members at WP Elevation. If your client wants to be able to do that, it's going to become apparent very quickly once they start logging into the prototype and fishing around, and they're going to say, oh, where can my members download their past invoices? Well, that's a conversation I want to have before we design the user interface and before we decide which technology and which plugins and themes we're going to use. I want to have that conversation on a prototype rather than we're about to launch the website and then they say, oh, how can my members download their past invoices. And the thing is that your client may not know that they even want that until they see it in the browser. So it's not their fault. The fact that they want new features and functionality added to their website a week before your launch is not their fault. They don't know what they don't know, and they don't know what's possible until they see it. So let's get them working in the browser as quickly as possible rather than trying to explain things in the written word.
I think the user experience is completely different when you're in that mindset of this is the website, this is where I'm clicking, as opposed to something drawn on a piece of paper or a sketchpad or whiteboard. It's not the real deal.
Correct.
It's a completely different way of thinking, and your psychology is different. Like, you're not going to go and click the whiteboard, but you're going to go and click a prototype that's in the browser that should actually go to the next wireframe and so forth. So I think definitely matching the psychology of what the finished product should be.
100%. And the mobile experience is, how is the mobile experience different to the desktop experience? And by the way, the mobile experience is not just making the website responsive. The mobile experience is, and it doesn't necessarily mean creating an app either, it just could be a dedicated website with different functionality that is best for the mobile experience. One example I'll give you is if you have a bricks and mortar business, the mobile experience, one of the first things that your customers should be able to find on the website on the mobile experience is your opening hours and Google Maps if you have a bricks and mortar business, because usually if they're looking at your website on the mobile, it's because they're out and about and they're looking to actually come to your physical address.
And we spoke about that last week as well with the mobile first indexing. That's becoming more and more important because there's parts on a mobile website that you should just take away. Like, it's okay to serve a completely different website that gives a better user experience on mobile.
100%. That parallax image gallery that you built probably ain't going to work very well on the iPhone, so get rid of it.
Checking in with Jim. So research has actually shown if you take a 20-minute nap in the afternoon, you wake up much fresher with better problem-solving abilities, better focus, and you can make better decisions. So 20 minutes, the reason for 20 minutes is because you don't fall into that deep sleep where you wake up feeling really groggy and can't focus on anything for the next couple of hours. So 20 minutes the optimum, and usually in the afternoon, but if you feel like doing it a bit earlier, why not take your 20 minutes then? There is a difference between napping and sleeping though. So with sleep, we all need an optimum amount of sleep per night. Now it's different for everyone. Everyone has a different sleep sweet spot, but it's recommended that for adults is between 7 and 9 hours a night. So my sweet spot is 8 hours, and I have refined that over time, and I know that if I don't get 8 hours, I am grumpy, I have no patience, and I will lose it like that. So there's some real serious things that happen when you have lack of sleep or constant interrupted sleep. And that includes things like chronic illness, Alzheimer's, depression, diabetes, the list goes on. So they're the heavy stuff. But on a day-to-day basis, it has a huge impact, lack of sleep, on things like memory, problem-solving abilities, patience, empathy. The list goes on. We have to have an optimum amount of sleep just to function on a day-to-day basis. So we know the benefits of a nice afternoon nap, but that in no way replaces a good night's sleep. And when I say good night's sleep, I don't mean just that 7 to 9 hours. You also have to look at the quality of the sleep that you're getting. So you ideally want an uninterrupted sleep. So have a think about your sleeping habits, how many hours you're sleeping, and what interruptions you have. Is your room too hot? Do you have a snoring partner? Do you like to listen to music to get you to sleep? Do you need to go to the bathroom during the night? Have a think of all those things and how you could just tweak them to give yourself the most optimum sleep. I want to hear about it. Let me know how you go.
Let's get unstuck.
Got any questions?
Yeah, I do actually. This
Here we
question
go.
comes from Simon Kelly.
Oh no!
So last week we talked about the hiring process, preparing your business to hire. And one of the things that you said.
Oh, here we go.
One of the things that you said was about getting someone else to do it, basically, getting your VA to do it.
That's right.
So I did that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Did it work?
Yeah, it's working pretty good so far.
There you go, brother.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
So the next part is the part that I'm a bit stuck with is once you do that, is how to not manage both of them now. So have Amy, which is my VA project manager, amazing. Amy, if you're watching. Yeah. Amy's mum watches, apparently.
Wow, hi Amy's mum. Actually, that's weird because my wife's name is Amy, although I don't think my mother-in-law would ever watch this show. But if you did, Sue, hi, welcome to the show. This is what I do, kind of, sometimes during the day. This is my friend Simon.
Hello. Hi, Sue.
Like television, but on the computer.
In case, hopefully she's figured that out.
Yes.
She's made it this far. So in terms of being able to have the team, manage the team, how can I, what advice can I give to Amy? How can I best support Amy to help make sure things are happening?
So it's a good question. So Michelle recommended Charmaine come and work with us recently.
Right.
And we took that recommendation very seriously because the other person that Michelle recommended come and work with us is her friend Jay, who is our full stack developer, who is a rock star. So we said, well, Michelle's track record of recommendations is pretty good, so let's give Charmaine a go. Turns out Charmaine is awesome. Hi, Charmaine. Hope you're watching. And she's now on board full time. We're kind of slowly onboarding her to become my assistant. We've just given her access to my calendar. Well, actually, Jin, I think, just gave her access to my calendar. She'll eventually be running my emails and scheduling. She's now, when we have an elevation session or a pre-flight call for Mavericks Club and I make a whole bunch of handwritten notes on the workbooks, I just throw that into Slack and Charmaine emails that off to the customer with a bunch of notes and an opportunity to book in for another call. Now, I don't actually spend a lot of time managing Charmaine. In fact, one of the things I first did when Charmaine came on is I had a bit of a panic attack and I was like,
it's a good start.
It's a good start.
I'll take it notes.
Like, because here's the truth, right?
First step.
So Charmaine was a bit nervous when she first started, and she was a bit nervous about getting on Zoom and chatting with me. And I said, that's okay. I'm a bit nervous about getting on Zoom and chatting with you because I don't think I'm a very good manager. I think I'm a good leader, but I don't think I'm a very good manager. And I don't like management much at all. I don't like managing things or
set
people.
The vision, get excited,
I like
and be like,
leading.
yes.
I like blazing the trail. I like walking into the dark, unknown, and if we fall over, I'll get up and we'll just keep going. But I don't particularly like managing shit because it takes too much grey matter, it takes too much brain power. And I like to reserve my brain power for thinking big about strategy and vision, right? So if we are on a hike, for example, and I'm leading the charge and we get to our camping ground and someone's like, oh, well, where are the tents? Did you manage to pack the tents? I'm going to be like, no, of course I didn't manage to pack the tents. We're all grown-ups. Put your big girl undies on and bring your own tent, right? So here's
I didn't bring those either.
Well, there you go. So here's my short answer to your question is you need to manage someone in your organisation and you probably should only manage one person or, in fact, lead the team and liaise with one person. So if I were you, I would liaise with Amy, who is your assistant, and then I would ask Amy lots of questions like, who is this new person that you've hired? What is their role? What is their role?
The new role is a Shopify developer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does a successful Shopify developer look like in terms of what their job description is? What are their key areas of responsibility? What do successful outcomes look like? What numbers are they responsible for? So, for example, the development team here are responsible for making sure all of our websites are up to date, backed up, secure, and all the plugins are updated and we have backups in the cloud. So if I log into any of our websites on a given Thursday morning, because I think the deadline is lunchtime Monday, if I log into any of our websites anytime during the week and there are a whole bunch of plugins that need updating, I know that someone's not doing their job. However, it's not my job to work out how they do that. It's their job to design their own workflow. And here's the kicker. It's their job to design their own workflow that works for them, fits in with the organizational structure, and document their workflow so that when they go on holidays, someone else can come in and do their job.
Yep,
It's not my job to document how to use Bitbucket and GitHub and version control, because by Lord, if it was my job to document that, A, it would never get done, and B, it wouldn't make sense because I don't know how to do any of that stuff. If I knew how to do that, I would be a full stack developer.
So it's not about learning and then top-down teaching.
No.
Massive waste of time.
Massive waste of time. And also, you can't be the expert at everything.
Yeah.
Right? April Weir said, big girl undies, laugh out loud. I got that from you, April. You're the reason I say big girl undies. Now I use it all the time. My wife's not very happy with the new analogy, but I use it all the time.
Yeah, it's
time
a good
to
one.
get your big girl undies on. Come on.
Yeah.
So your job is not to know everything and write the documentation and teach the team. Your job is to craft the vision, lead the team, and then hire people who are skilled at what they do, and primarily hire people who are of good character, who have some skills, because you can always teach new skills, and then get those people to document their jobs so that they can ultimately be replaced with an understudy if they go on holidays or if they leave the organisation.
Yeah, I was actually talking to someone the other day who manages a skate shop here in Melbourne, and they were talking about a new hire that they wanted to get on board, and there was two candidates that they were basically tossing up between. One was really passionate about the sport, really passionate about the industry, and was just like, I hope that what my passion speaks for something. And then the other candidate had a lot of retail experience, a lot of working in this kind of industry, but the passion wasn't quite there and the interpersonal skills weren't quite there. So they went with the person who was less skilled, but they're going to enjoy managing and spending more time with, and they can up those skills a lot easier. So they went with them.
100%. Hire character, teach skill. Hey, Krista Wilkins says, that is so helpful. I needed that insight. The big girl undies bit, Krista, or the preparing to hire a team, not sure, but I'm glad you're finding some of it helpful. Hey, that's kind of a nice little segue into our kind of main topic for this week, isn't it? Shall we have a look at this week's
Time to dig into the gold nugget.
So OKRs, do you want to tell me what they are?
I'd love for you to know, to just test your knowledge of the experience, Jin.
Before we went away then, we were all, Troy's introduced a new way that we're sort of setting company goals.
Yep.
So similar to your KPIs that you may have heard of, OKRs are objectives and key results. So it's the guy who sort of set this up was the founder of Hewlett Packard, I think. So this is where Troy's been doing a lot of research on the best way that we should, that we could, as a team, really work towards specific goals. So what it is basically we have our company objective. So, and that can be a few. So we've got 2 company objectives for this quarter. And then from that, we've got the company key results. So the objectives is the big picture, what we want to achieve. Then the key results are broken down and how we'll achieve this, and more numeric, or there's a value to it. So how will we know when this happens?
Yeah.
So, and then from that you have your team objectives that need to relate to the company objective, and then your team key results that are broken down from that, and then from that you have your individual objectives and individual key results.
Yeah. So it's like coming up like a pyramid. So you're all on the same page, heading towards the same objectives.
Yeah, so it was a great way for us to actually be with our team and work on it together, so not remotely, but to be able to brainstorm together. So I found from the customer success team, we had so much gold just being able to talk about it together and brainstorm ideas.
Yeah, and it was a pretty nice place to be doing it in as well.
Yeah, overlooking the beach. It wasn't bad, was it?
Yeah,
So
great.
so we got a lot out of that. I think
as you know, Simon, I was looking a bit blank when Troy was sort of going into this to start
Couldn't
off.
tell. Yeah, no.
And I'm thinking, it's too complicated. But we broke it all down and how it would all intertwine together. And in the end, we all nailed it. How did you go with your... Well,
Yeah, it was
Simon, you're a
good.
bit over everything. You're like the head coach, you're in marketing. So you were sort of a bit in
I
every
look
team.
like I'm all over everything. But you mean like as fingers in different pies, I guess.
Both.
Yeah.
So how did you go? What did you? Or first of all, what do you think of the OKR concept?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's really good. And the link that we've got down there is actually OKRs defined by Google, and they've got intro and some examples and different ways that they use it in their team. So there's a bit of a free resource there that's quite good from a website called Rethink by Google. I think it's really good because it's nice and succinct. It's like we want to achieve this, but then it breaks it down into the key results. How do you know when you're close, right? So one of the things that while we were practicing this at the company retreat, I was working with Pat and Jay, and we were just like,
Both from the Philippines?
Yeah, both developers. So we were just like, let's just practice with something that we might find interesting, and we're like, let's climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Let's just say that's the objective. So like, what are some key results when we're on the way there? And we're like, well, we've been able to climb every tall mountain in our own country first. We've able the tallest mountains. We've spent more time above 2,000 meters. So you get altitude, like we're aware of this, a certain amount of time. And then how many kilometers have we hiked? So those are some of the key results that will make sure we're heading towards our objective. So we use that as practice to help us get there. And then Pat actually looked up climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, how much it costs, and how we can fly there. So that could be happening next September, which would be awesome.
See the
So we're
amazing
moving
things
towards
that
it.
come out of working together face to face.
Exactly.
You guys are now going to be climbing it.
Yeah. I thought the overall process was good. I would have loved to spend more time with the customer success team, so we might have to have a bit of a catch up another time, Jen.
Yeah.
But it was great with the marketing and sales team talking about just going round table about how we're all going to work together to get on the same page. So just wanted to give you a bit of structure when it comes to these OKRs. So the objectives, you define three to five of them. And they should be ambitious, like almost unachievable. You want to make it so it's something that's like, that really excites me. That's something that's like, you really want to get out of bed and make that happen, right? If you achieve it, then it's not big enough. You want to dream big so you get close to it. And the things that you learn on your journey to get there is what's really important.
Exactly. And I think that's really good to know if you are doing this with your team, that your team need to know too that you are not going to be held accountable for any of this. So you're not going to lose your job if you don't get these, if you don't meet these targets. It's got nothing to do with performance. Yeah. It's got to do with all this other stuff. So that was the way Troy framed it too, which I think is really important, because then you're saying you get excited and you want to do it. It's not, there's no fear of failure in it.
Yeah, it gives you the fire to try and just be like, I wonder if I try this, and wonder if I do this, and reporting back, because there are no failures, right, when it comes to this. It's all about just like testing, and maybe if I go from this angle, that will help me get closer to the objective. And that's why it's something that's like big, like hairy, audacious goal to try to get there, because you need to come up with some creative thinking in order to knock it out of the park.
And I think the stat was, even if you make 75% of that, that's good. You know, you're not expected to make 100% of whatever your key result is.
Yeah, exactly.
Get ready for Tool of the Week.
Tool of the week this week is, and it's not actually a piece of software, it's actually a piece of intellectual property developed way back in the 1980s, I think it was, by a guy whose name I can't remember. But it's best explained, I love this video from Brian Tracy, who, and as Ray was saying before in the pre-roll, we just love Brian Tracy's voice. It's kind of hypnotic and you can kind of get lost listening to Brian Tracy. But there's this great video on YouTube called How to Create and Use Smart Goals by Brian Tracy. And it's an 8-minute video, and it's a really good way of explaining what a SMART goal is. So before you start talking about goals with your clients, understand what a SMART goal is and make sure your client understands what a SMART goal is. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to say to your client, why are we building a new website? And they say, because we want to make more sales. And you say, okay, more than what? If I can make one sale on the website, does that mean I've done my job? So you want to quantify what more actually means. I want to collect more email addresses. Okay, more than what? More than last week? We didn't collect any last week. So if I collect one, that means we've won, right? So SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. I'm not going to bore you with the details on why that's important to follow that framework. Go and look at Brian Tracy's video on YouTube, how to create and use SMART goals, and make sure that every goal that your client is setting for their website is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound.
Excellent goals. When I'm building websites, I'll have that conversation with clients about goal setting, and we'll do that as part of a workshop, which we'll discuss in a future episode. But something that I do with clients that I have on a long-term retainer basis, which I like to be as many clients as possible, I will say to them, what does success look like in 6 months or in 12 months? You let me know, like we're at the end of 6 months, 12 months, and we're celebrating how awesome it's been. You tell me what's happened, like what does it look like for you? And instead of you trying to sit there and think about those goals, let them tell you what they are. And they'll get specific with that. If you just say, what are the goals, and they say something a bit wishy-washy like more sales, they're just not going to get specific. But if you say, in 6 months, because you're taking the time-bound thing away from them, you're saying 6 months, they'll be a bit more specific at that point. That just helps to extract the information from them.
And you do need to extract information from them. So one example of a SMART goal. So here's a non-SMART goal, otherwise known as a dumb goal. I want more email addresses. Fabulous, thank you very much. A SMART goal is, I want to grow my email database to 10,000 subscribers by June 30. Woohoo! Awesome. It's specific. We know when we've done it. It's measurable. It's achievable. It's realistic, and it's time-bound. So that's an example of a SMART goal. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching and revisiting some of those segments as much as we did. We look forward to seeing you in 2019. Dude, it's been an epic year.
Yeah, dude, 100%.
Can't believe,
It's been awesome. There's been a lot of nuggets. A lot of nuggets shared, a lot of wisdom provided, a lot of laughs. Yeah, dude, it's been fantastic.
It has, it's been great. And a few belly laughs and
a few walking off,
couple
crying.
of walking off the set in tears, which is a regular occurrence. So we encourage you all to take some time off over the holiday season. It is summer here in Australia, so we will be camping and surfing and swimming and doing that sort of outdoorsy stuff. I know for some of you it is winter and you'll be snowed in. Enjoy the holiday time with your family, and we look forward to seeing you again in mid-Jan, I think. I'm not exactly sure what the date is yet, but we'll keep you posted. If you want to get regular updates, follow us at the blog, wpelevation.com. On YouTube, subscribe, wpelevation.com/YouTube, and of course here on Facebook, wpelevation.com/Facebook, to get regular updates, and we'll let you know when we're back for regular broadcasting in 2019. It's going to be a very exciting year. As I said, the wall is coming down. We're taking over the room next door. We'll be putting out more and more content, more themed content to help you guys with your WordPress consulting businesses. So have a great holiday season. See you next year. Until then, I'm Troy Dean.
I'm Simon Kelly, and remember, knowledge is power.
And silence is golden.